We are very excited to be joined by Justine Todd, current OHL official, an Olympian official, and also officiating with the PWHL. So thank you so much, Justine. We're super excited to have you on to discuss wearing the stripes.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So I guess the first thing we'll kind of get into is the very beginning and how you got into officiating. How did that story start?
I actually did start when I was very young. My mom decided to put me in as a little part-time job when I was about 12 years old. I grew up in Eastern Ontario and it didn't really stick at that time. I will admit, I think I was probably too young to really enjoy officiating. So fast forward, I played for the University of Toronto. And when I finished playing, I wanted to stay involved in the sport. And I didn't really want to coach and didn't want to stay in the competitive hockey as a player. But I had realized through my many years of playing that we didn't have a lot of female game officials at that level. So this would have been 2002 to 2007. And I wanted to see more female game officials on the ice. So that's what drew me to it. You could be on the ice, you're close to the game, you have the best seat in the house. You get to still skate. You're involved in every which way possible. You're involved with the players, the coaches, the trainers, the on ice, the off ice. And I could represent our sport, and then we could see a little bit more of that reflection in our officials as we do with the athletes on the ice. So that's what drew me into officiating.
And when you made that jump, did you find an unexpected challenge maybe of when you maybe made the switch from player to officiating?
Well, that's a really good question. I think initially not as much because I did not expect the journey to lead to where it has today. I really honestly thought it would be a little part-time hobby, something for fun, make a little bit of extra money, get out on the ice, work towards refereeing some higher level female hockey. But I never expected national and international championships. I didn't think about the Olympics. I didn't think about all these opportunities that have now materialized in my life. At the time, I was just really thinking, oh, I'm just going to referee hockey. So initially, no. As the years have gone on, trying to balance competing as a game official, because that's what you do at this level, and working a full-time job and being with family and friends and managing the commitments in each areas of your life, that has proven to be challenging. It's not an obstacle. It is challenging, though. You need a very good support group around you to want to pursue hockey from this perspective because it can be a lot of time away from home. So that can be very challenging.
Well, and you touched on a lot of really important things there. So I'm going to tackle the first one, and you touched on the opportunity of being an Olympian. You got to go to the Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
It's known, I think, publicly that you were a two-time Olympian, but you shared actually a little bit of adversity. So I'll let you touch on that story. But when you to start at your first games in 2018, when you first got that call or were notified, what was that feeling of being told that you were going to skate the Olympic Games?
It was a dream come true. I'll fully admit I was not the best player. I could play at the university level, but I knew I was never going to be an Olympian on the ice for Team Canada. So now I just represent a different team in that aspect. To be able to achieve a goal that I had as a young girl that I had thought was not achievable was it's hard to put a word to describe it other than it is a dream come true. And I remember where I was when I got the phone call. I remember who I was with, what I was doing. I was at work, so I couldn't really tell anyone. I wanted to celebrate and I wanted to cheer, but I wasn't in a role or capacity where I could do that. So I had to kind of keep it under wraps until I got home that night and I could share it with my husband. But it was definitely, I'd worked a long time for that, and to achieve that goal meant a lot to me.
And 4 years later, I mean, I think you had a little bit of a different experience, but you shared that you got the call for the 2022 Olympics and things may have taken a little bit of a turn. So if you want to share that adversity with us.
So let's rewind to what I'm sure nobody has forgotten, although we want to all forget it, which is COVID. And the 22 leading up to the 22 Olympics, the years leading to that, I think for all athletes in every aspect of sport were very challenging. There was a lot of obstacles and challenges, a lot of ups and downs, canceled championships. So it wasn't an easy road to be selected for the long and then the short list for the 2022 Olympics in Beijing. It was always my goal to do 2 Olympics. That was what I had thought my journey was going to be. I'm going to do 2 Olympics, and then I'll stop competing and find another aspect to give back to the officiating in Ontario. However, 2 days prior to departure for the Beijing Olympics, we had to do multiple COVID tests, but my test 2 days prior came back positive for COVID. So even though I had been isolating at home with my husband, a very unusual set of circumstances led to my having COVID, and I did not go to the Beijing Olympics. There was no way I was getting into China at that point with a positive test result, and it wasn't a false positive, it was positive for COVID. So I did not go to the Beijing Olympics. So that goal, that dream of achieving 2 Olympics did not materialize for me.
And how did you handle that, I guess, for lack of a better word, curveball being thrown at you and the reason I ask this is for athletes or anyone in the game facing that sort of adversity, was there a lesson that you think would benefit others that you learned during that time?
Yeah, there's been a few of them. Friends and family are important. Lean on them. Have those support groups in place. I'll say it. If you want to talk to somebody professional, talk to somebody professional, because that for me, mentally, emotionally, and even physically took a very large toll on my health, my all-around health. So lean on friends and family. Get help if you need help. So those are some good life lessons that we should always remember, regardless of our situation in life, when we have an event that occurs that could be, when we're so invested in it, deeply upsetting. The old expression of when one door closes, another one opens is very true. So I am still skating. And challenging myself at the highest level that I can challenge myself at. My plan was to retire. I didn't retire, which meant I tried for the OHL Combine the following summer, so in the June of 2022, which has led me down a whole new path within the game of officiating, new opportunities, new challenges, new things that I've learned. I'm continuing to learn. And it has brought me to a place where I never thought was possible for myself. And that I am very grateful for. So they say in life, things happen for a reason. In the moment, you never see why it doesn't make sense. But when you have those supports in place and you can work on your mindset and you can be mindful that there could be an opportunity that comes from this challenge that appears devastating at the time, you can really spin it on its head and it can take you in a whole different direction in life if you're open-minded to the fact that there's a new direction it could take you in.
What a very, very important message. Honestly, it could not be more true. And you touched on going to the OHL Combine and how your original plan, was to retire, but you went into that opened new door and you're now an OHL official. You're one of actually 4 women who are officiating in the OHL, which is pretty historic to say. So as that new career path kind of developed for you, what was your thought process? Was it kind of just, I'm going to experience the combine, see how it goes? Or were you like, no, I'm going for this, I want this, and you really went full force trying to make that your next goal?
Bit of both, to be honest. I went into it with an open mind. Let's see what happens. This is interesting. This has never been available to any official at that point. That was their first ever combine, male or female. So I went into it very much with an open mind, not knowing what to expect, because up until that point, I had not officiated male hockey, other than maybe a game here or there to get ready for the 2022 Olympics. I had spent my entire career in the female game. So I had to, as my former supervisor said, I had to manage my expectations because I didn't know what to expect. But then once I was there and I realized, hey, maybe this is something that I can achieve and that I do have the skill to perform at that level, then it became a goal. So a bit of both. It transitioned into more of a goal, and it was something that I wanted once I went into that experience and realized this is something that I can do. This is something that I'm capable of.
And do you look at being one of 4 as a big significance, or are you more of the mindset that I am part of, Team 21 for the OHL, I'm part of a big team, and you're more focused on being an official over to being the one of 4 women?
I would love to say that I only focus on just being an official, but I don't think that would be a fully honest answer because I am very aware of the fact that I'm only one of 4 females. And I'm aware of that for the fact that there are young girls watching in any sport. And now we have a women's professional league, but initially we did not. We'd had many different versions of a women's professional league through the years, but we did not have the PWHL at that point in time. So for me, I still acknowledge and I'm very aware that I am a female within the game because of what it represents for other females in their respective sport or trade or job or whatever it is activity that they want to succeed in, where they may feel that they're not as represented as somebody else from a different walk of life. So I feel that it's very important that we have that female representation and that we represent our females well, so that way those little girls or those other female game officials can dream the same dream that the 4 of us have dreamt. Like I said, I'd love to say that it doesn't make a difference, but to me it makes a huge difference because I think we play a very important role to inspiring future generations of not only game officials and hockey players, but anybody in whatever it is that they're looking to pursue.
That's absolutely true. And on that, I want to touch on a little bit, maybe discussing maybe one of the challenges or one of the bigger challenges that you felt jumping into the males game. Like you said, you had always been officiating the women's game. Do you feel when you jumped into the OHL that that became more prominent to you, that I'm a female, and was that a challenge or more empowering?
It was both because you want to, it's both a challenge, but it also inspires you to work that little bit extra, that as hard as you possibly can, so that way you are that strong representation. And probably my biggest challenge, and it still is a challenge for me today, isn't everything that goes on around me, but it's what I think inside my head, right? So I'm always trying to be looking forward with that positive mindset so that way I can achieve my goals and perform well without the mental side of the game undermining what it is that I'm actually doing on the ice. Mental resilience, mental toughness, the mental side of officiating, that is what I have observed through my many years. Some of the great refs versus some of the good refs I've worked with. The great refs were just as good at skating. Their positioning was no different, but what made them stand out was that mental resilience component. And that is what I'm constantly working on. And that's probably what I have found is the biggest challenge for me in all aspects of my officiating career, and not just in the last couple of years that I've been skating in the OHL. It's just keep working on that mental strength to be in the game.
Well, and I do want to bring in your, I guess, quote unquote, your day job, which would be you're a police officer. So when you're talking about mental toughness, is that something that maybe you're pulling from that aspect of your life? Or I'm sure being an official and a police officer kind of complement each other in different ways.
I always joke that I'm a sucker for punishment because I go to work and nobody likes me, and then I go to hockey and nobody likes me. But I definitely take a lot of what I've learned in policing for my mental resilience and working through different mental challenges and apply it into hockey. So whether it's my mindset, whether it's breathing techniques that I use, whether it's mental rehearsal, my self-talk, setting small achievable goals for myself from the day-to-day to the season. These are all things that I can take from my career that my employer has helped me learn, and I can apply it also in sport. And then vice versa, what I learn in sport, I can also bring it back and apply it to my career. So I'm very fortunate. I will disclose who I work with. I work with the York Regional Police, very supportive of what it is that I love to do outside of work, and my employer and my job and my supervisors and my coworkers support me in being able to achieve my goals outside of work and have helped me grow and mature and build that mental resilience that I think is important as a game official, because you're right, you need it in that career as well for the different challenges of the different situations that you might find yourself dealing with in that career. And the two almost go hand in hand when it comes to some of those skill sets that are needed in both aspects of my life.
Absolutely. And as you're juggling all of this, I know we quickly touched on it, but you mentioned the PWHL, so that's the Professional Women's Hockey League. It's brand new this season. It's gaining a lot of momentum. It's setting historic moments and milestones. So you're also officiating in that league. So what has your experience been like? I mean, you've had other major career milestones. I mean, you're setting history in the OHL, but does this league and experience feel a little bit different than the other milestones and historic moments for you?
100%. It's interesting because I was also involved in the Premier Hockey Federation, the PHF, the PWHPA, so the Professional Women's Hockey Players Association, and then the former CWHL, the Canadian Women's Hockey League. And those leagues were all fantastic hockey with the best players in the world. But the PWHL feels different. It is different. It is a professional hockey league. And these women are finally having the representation that they have deserved for many, many years. They are truly professional athletes. They are the top females in their sport. The game is exceptional. It's been really quite a bit of enjoyment for me to even watch. I've never watched so much hockey because usually once I get home, I don't want to watch hockey on TV. I've seen enough of it at the rink, but I'm actually enjoying watching the hockey on TV and just watching how much it's improved in that short period of time from January 1st to where it is now is incredible. These women have so much more potential that they're going to give to the game, and to see it being a success already, it's kudos to them, but it is also a reflection of their talent and their professionalism on the ice. It feels entirely different. It really truly feels like it is a professional game, and that these women are finally being given the credit that they deserve playing at that level that they have been working and striving for so many years. So it's nice to see that their hard work from the top management all the way down is finally being rewarded with the league that is just fantastic hockey to watch.
Well, in that same breath, I think it's important to ask the question of, for you personally, what's your one message for young girls and women? I mean, it's all about, getting them into the game and playing sports and everything that sport can give back to young girls. But in general, when it comes to officiating, what would your message be to young girls and women and maybe considering putting on the different jersey?
I would say just do it. So my message for young girls, young women, or anyone really who maybe is a bit apprehensive, regardless of gender or your walk of life, where you come from, your religion, your culture, your race, put yourself out there and try. Even if you don't feel like you're 100% ready, maybe only feel like you're 40 or 50% ready. Don't wait till you're 100% ready. Do it now. Don't wait, because you might not ever be 100% ready, but you'll learn. And you'll have people in your life that will support you, and find those who do and surround yourself with them. And take that chance. Take that, what you might consider risk in life, to try something new because you think you might enjoy it. If you don't love it, you don't love it. At least then you don't have any regrets. But don't wait until you're 100% ready. Do it. Do it now. Don't wait. That's what I tell them to do.
A very, very important message. And the same conversation of messages, as an official, as in general, as an official, I should say, what do you think the biggest misconception is, maybe from spectators and coaches, about officials on the ice?
Oh gosh, this could be so many things. I wish that everybody, coaches, players alike, had an opportunity, even just for one season, to go out and officiate some hockey and recognize that it is challenging, that it isn't easy to always do, right? That it takes a long time to hone your craft. These are someone's brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons that are out there on the ice. If they're trying and they're working hard, even if one of the best officials out there could still make a mistake, just like the players do. Might miss a call, just like the players do, but they're trying. So I really think that it would be wonderful to see people who are not game officials get out there and actually officiate a game, and recognize how challenging it can be on the ice, to see everything that we're expected to see and perform at that top level all the time, when it's quite challenging considering all the different details that you have to pay attention to on the ice.
A lot easier probably from the stands, sitting
It's
there.
always easier from the stand.
And I'm going to just follow up on that question and ask, do you think that misconception is the same or different for female officials?
I think it's same. And I think it might depend on the individual. I don't know if I want to use what I believe or what I think as a blanket comment for all game officials, but I think it could be the same, very much the same for female officials. Whether I'm doing female or male hockey, if I miss something, it's the same feeling regardless. I hate it. I hate missing something on the ice. I don't like messing up a call. I don't like it when I make the wrong call, and I do. I do make the wrong call, but yet I'm out there and I truly don't want to. I feel awful. Sometimes some calls, it's like 2 weeks later and I'm still thinking about that one wrong call that I made because it bothers me so much that I made the wrong call and that it impacted either a player or a team on the ice. I hate that feeling. So we're humans too. And we're trying to do the best that we can. And we don't like making mistakes either.
Well, I think that's really important because I think it's very easy and maybe subconsciously for most now to just assume that things are done on purpose and the refs aren't calling something on purpose and they don't care if they're making a mistake. But to hear how much that really affects you if you're making that mistake and that happens on the ice, I think it's not something that a lot of spectators are thinking about right now. So that's a really, really important message. Just to wrap it all up neat and tidy, as you know, officiating obviously can be done nice and neat and tidy. Overall, I know just we've talked about misconceptions and messages for spectators and young girls and women, but when you're looking at yourself as an official and all the accomplishments that you've made, and I'm sure are still to come, when you're thinking of the game as a whole, and you know, everyone that's involved from players, coaches, spectators, across the board, what's one thing you hope people recognize about officials on the ice when it comes to just the game of hockey, no matter the level or gender or whatever that game might be?
You're not going to have a hockey game without us, everyone. We are a vital component to being able to enjoy a game that we all love. We are human beings just like you. So just remember that we're out there, we're trying, we're doing our best. And if your reaction is to yell and scream and use inappropriate forms of communication to convey that you're not happy with the game official, we're impacting the future of our sport, the future of other game officials that are either currently in the game or going to be in the game. And you might also be impacting your own child's hockey when they don't have game officials and they can't play their game. So be mindful that you've got people on the ice that do care and they're trying their best.
No refs, no game.
No ref, no game. Yeah.
Well, Justine, it's been an absolute pleasure. I know it's, you know, we're heading head first into playoffs and things are picking up, and I'm sure the hockey's getting just as intense. So we really appreciate you taking the time to join us and all of your messages and important, important, you know, just overall feedback in general about being an official is really much appreciated.
Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time today as well. I appreciate that.